Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the podcast. I know it's been a while since I did the last video. That wasn't intended, but definitely wanted to get back on here because I've been saying I wanted to do a video, on the status of where I see AEW. And, if you've been keeping up with some of the wrestling news, it's funny how things are turning out right now. I mean, this video is not about AEW. This video is going to be about the upcoming event next Saturday. Just want to do early predictions, where I think things are going to go and what's been happening since I last did a post. But, there's a lot going on right now with AEW. I definitely want to do that video, and I will make sure that video gets up this week. I mean, just so much drama going on, with the CM Punk, the Adam Page, their TV deals coming up soon, and, now with the new, new man in charge of Warner Brothers, what does that mean for AEW? Are we looking at a WCW situation where, we're going to have a bunch of people who don't give a damn about wrestling, and now next thing you know, AEW's off of TBS and, TNT and all that. So, and just the change in the atmosphere now that, Triple H is running things, Vince is gone, and just that dynamic shift where it's like people couldn't wait to get out of WWE, and, those whose contracts were coming up at AEW were definitely going to want to stay. Now it's like, well, wait a minute now. Now this is not what this used to be. This is a different dynamic. And now guys who, probably were unhappy now are like, well, okay, wait a minute. Let's pump the brakes here for a second because now there's a new regime. And now you may have guys who said, I will never go to WWE or go back to WWE saying, well, let's give it a shot because I'm not feeling things right now in AEW. So all those things I'm going to talk about and cover in the next video. Like I said, I promise I will get that video up. It's been a long time coming. In a way, it's probably a good thing that I haven't done it because so much has happened since I said I wanted to do that video. So I will definitely take care of that. Right now, in the middle of Raw, right now, they're about to do a sit-down interview with Matt Hardy, with Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins. And then the weird thing that I just noticed, Vince changed Riddle from Matt Riddle to Riddle. And he's always been known as Riddle since then. And they just showed the graphic of his full name, Matt Riddle. So I'm wondering if that's something Triple H is slowly putting back in. But just wanted to get into do an early prediction of the next, event that's coming up. And then the interesting thing is, because I wasn't 100% familiar with what all the matches were, I was just going through. And, so this event is taking place this Saturday, September 3rd, at 1 o'clock. The interesting thing is that, this is early September. The next event is going to be Extreme Rules in October. And then you're going to go to Crown Jewel for November. And then you're going to have two events in November because they have to go back to Saudi Arabia. And then they'll have Survivor Series, which for the first time is after Thanksgiving. And then you don't have anything for the month of December. Usually you have an ending pay-per-view the end of the year. So it's sort of interesting that I guess because they sort of had to double up on the pay-per-views in November, they said, well, let's not do anything in December. So after Survivor Series, that's it. Survivor Series is going to be the last event of the year. And then they're going to do their day one pay-per-view on premium live event on July 1st, January 1st. So a little interesting tidbit there, how, before that really didn't matter, but, now all of a sudden, there's nothing happening in December. December used to be the TLC events. But anyway, let's just get into what's just been going on. And I'll definitely start with the championship match. And I definitely want to talk about what happened on SmackDown last Friday. I mean, the beatdown that the Bloodline and Sami Zayn did on Drew McIntyre, I have to say, was probably one of the better beatdowns in a long time. I know that sounds weird to say because, it's sort of hard, again, if you've been watching wrestling as long as I have, it's kind of hard to do that different, It's usually, 3 or 4 guys beating the crap out of somebody and then you stand over and that's it. But I think just the way it was done, and again, how many times have we seen the Usos and Roman Reigns beat down on people? But I think the way they had used the steps, the way they used Sami Zayn, just the brutality of it, I don't know, it just felt different. And it just really felt like amazing, probably because it was done to Drew McIntyre, who's, even though he's lost, who's relatively been booked fairly strong. I won't say to the point of Super Cena, but for the most part, he's been booked very strong. So to see that happen to him does seem a bit, surprising. So, I just thought that was a bit interesting. I think if that had happened to somebody like, Bobby Lashley, we'd be surprised because, again, that person has been built up so strong, you just wouldn't, I guess, expect it, or if it happening, it just seemed different. So it's just very interesting. I think it's putting a little bit more of a extra, I have to see this match. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't give 2 shits about this event. Because to me, it was just going to be a throwaway event. I just didn't see what the appeal was going to be about it. But I mean, they have hyped this thing with Drew and Roman, especially after what just happened with on SmackDown with them beating him down. It's kind of made it like, okay, maybe this might be something worth, checking out. So my prediction obviously is, yes, you're going to be in Drew's home country, but, Drew's not winning this. Okay, they're not taking the belts off of Roman. And, Drew is definitely going to get his crack again. He'll definitely be, a 3-time champion, 4-time, 5-time champion. He's had 2 reigns already. He'll definitely get, another run with it. I just don't think it's right now. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure when, he will be the right guy. Like I said, I think next year is certainly going to be built around Cody Rhodes when he comes back. I also think next year is going to be built around Karrion Kross now that he's back. So I just right now don't see Drew back in that picture. Maybe towards the end of next year, he'll get another run with it. Maybe he'll be the one to dethrone Cody or dethrone Karrion Kross if, Karrion wins the championship. Because there's been talk now, it seems the talk is coming back up, that they want to split the belts. And I think right now, and I've mentioned this before, just let Roman keep both belts. I mean, you put yourself in this situation because, to me, there was really no need to do a winner-take-all at WrestleMania. I don't think it was necessary. I don't think the match needed it, but that's what you did. And I think the storyline fits him where, he's been champion for, over 2 years. He hasn't been pinned in over 2 years. He's run through everybody. So it's like, yeah, I don't need to be here all the time. And when some chump thinks he can take me, I'll come, shut him up, and I'm going to go back to my island, and chill with both my titles. So it fits him to be a part-timer, and it fits him to have both belts. I don't think you should try to scheme and take the belts off of him. I think it's a mistake to pin him before you do this match at WrestleMania. Again, it looks like The Rock is still in the cards with this. From what I've been seeing, they're still planning to do this with The Rock. His schedule's supposed to be clear for this. So if that is going to continue to be the course of action, do not take one of the belts off of him. And, yes, you could try to do it in a cute way where, the Usos are going to defend it for him and then, they screw up and now they lose. Or Sami Zayn says, let me, it's just, how do you enter that realm of, I'm not going to put my WWE Championship on the line, but I'll put the Universal belt on because that's the belt they want to get off him. That's the belt they want to split away. is a universal title. But how do you do that with him? Other than, again, Sammy or the Uso or one of the Usos being a proxy for him. But again, how do you approach that subject? How do you say, no, you're not going to get both belts. You pick one of them. That just doesn't seem like something Roman, when you've built him, is going to do. Not to mention, again, let's be honest, Roman is pretty much a babyface now. The Bloodline's a babyface. As much as you want to say they're a heel, they're a babyface. If you're listening to reactions right now, they're a bit. Now, when he goes to, on Saturday, he'll probably get booed. But for the most part, listen to the reactions. The man, the group, is a freaking babyface. So what I think what they should do is, as I said before, eventually, I think they're going to have Austin Theory cash in. I don't think they're going to make him waste it. I think when he cashes it, he will be successful. And it makes more sense for him to be the one to say, I'm not putting both my titles on the line. You know what? You just get one, or something to that effect. His character allows for that, as opposed to a Roman Reigns doing it. So I think they need to drop the talk about separating the belts off of Roman right now and just worry about that next year after WrestleMania. I just don't think you should do it right now. So that is my prediction for the match, is that Roman Reigns is going to win. How he's going to win, is he going to win by pinfall, submission, or a disqualification? You know what? I don't know, because now you have Triple H, and, that's the thing now with Triple H. It's kind of hard to predict and kind of see, there was always a formula you could always kind of tell when things or how things were going to play out. It's a totally different ballgame now that Triple H is there. So I'm not going to try to figure out how Roman's going to win, but Roman's going over. To me, not everything's going to be a throwaway. I mean, they just announced tonight Edge and Rey Mysterio versus the Judgment Day. If you were watching Raw, you saw what happened with Dominic and Jesus Christ. And Rhea Ripley, you had the kendo stick, he was going to hit her. She talked him down, all this stuff. We're finally getting to that Dominic heel turn. They sort of gave it away, or Dominic gave it away. I forgot where I saw it, but he pretty much said, heel Eddie Guerrero had a mullet. And if you look at Dominic, he's grown a mullet, and he's, emulating Eddie Guerrero. So I think this is where we're finally going to get the heel turn. He's going to join the Judgment Day, and, we'll see him feuding with his father. Maybe they're going to be at Extreme Rules, which would sort of make sense because you can use weapons. You can beat down his father, all that kind of stuff. And I think it needs to be done. I was, of the groups who were saying it's time for the Judgment Day to go. Where's this thing going? Clearly, they're trying to give it more legs, give it more life. And I think by adding Dominic to it, it's, it's continuing. And, that's going to give Rey something to do for, the next couple of months. I don't know where Edge goes with this. I don't know if Edge continues to help Rey. I don't know where Edge goes after this. I do think we will get an Edge and Beth Phoenix versus a Rhea Ripley and most likely Damian Priest. And you'll probably see Finn Balor and Rey Mysterio continue to go at it. That would be my guess. But for that match, I am definitely going with Judgment Day winning with a Dominic heel turn. A surprise match that I'm actually interested in seeing is Gunther and Sheamus. And I know that sounds weird. And if you watch SmackDown, they're trying to turn Sheamus heel. And if you noticed, he was trying to get the crowd to go along with him, and they sort of left him hanging there. And I think for now, for some people, it might be a little hard to see Sheamus as a babyface because he's been a heel for so long. I think people are having a hard time seeing him as a face. But this is going to be a hard-hitting match. And I really thought it was interesting that they were going to go with Gunther and Sheamus. I really was surprised with that. But, I don't see them dethroning Gunther yet. I think Sheamus does need to do something a little meaningful. I mean, he's been pretty much been putting everybody else over. I don't think it hurts to give the guy a win, but right now it's probably not the right time. Maybe down the road, if they continue with the Gunther and Sheamus can dethrone him. But right now, I'm saying Gunther is going to retain the Intercontinental title. Riddle and Seth Rollins is going to be a great match. I'm going to go with a little surprising. I think there's going to be a twist here because I still think they want to do a feud with Riddle and Randy Orton when he gets back, and they could go one or two ways with this. They could, it could sort of be Randy coming back saying, look how much Riddle has failed. He couldn't beat Roman for the title. He couldn't beat the Usos in the tag team. He couldn't beat Seth Rollins. He was a waste. I carried him. So I can sort of see, Seth winning in a cowardly way. So against my better judgment, I'm going to go with Seth Rollins on this. This is a throwaway match. Don't give two shits about. It's a 6-women tag. Bianca, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka versus Bayley and her new group. I'll probably say Bayley and her new group because you're trying to get the legs going and, get the momentum behind the group. I'm pretty sure that Dakota Kai, Io Sky are going to win the Women's Tag Team Champions, and that'll lead to Sasha and Naomi coming back, which was a little interesting because it's like, how are they going to be received by the crowd? Will they be received as heels? Will they be received as, baby faces? So, that's going to be interesting. How they're gonna do this, but most likely they'll probably come back as baby faces because everybody's gonna be happy to see them. So, and it'll be them chasing Dakota Kai and Io Sky for the Women's Tag Team Champions. So, I'm going to pick them to win this match, and I think the finals for the Women's Tag Team is on this Raw, and I think, again, Dakota Kai and Io Sky are going to walk away with it because Sasha and Naomi are going to come back. And the last match is going to be Liv Morgan and Shayna Baszler. Again, there has to be some believability for me. Again, Shayna's a trained fighter. Liv should be destroyed. Same thing will happen with Ronda. So, are we going to get Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey? Right now they're both heels, so probably not. So probably somehow, some way, they're going to have Liv Morgan pull it out. The underdog, the babyface underdog. So I'm going to say Liv Morgan will retain her title as much as I want to see her get destroyed. And I know that sounds opposite because I was so happy that she won Money in the Bank, but I just think... I know why you're doing it because, again, it's the underdog and it really shows something. But again, Shayna has been made to be a joke for such a long time that a win over her is not really that impressive, if that makes any sense. And she never should have beaten Ronda. I just think, I don't know. I just think it was backwards. I don't know. Like I said, I get why they did it. I just disagree with it. I thought they could have had Liv and Natalya go at it for a while, Liv and Shotzi for a while. I think I may have believed it a little bit more if you had Liv beat Charlotte, if you had Liv go against Becky, something of that caliber. I could probably say, okay, if she's beating those top tier people, okay, she might have a chance against a Ronda or a Shayna. It's going to be harder because, again, they're a trained fighter. But, if she's beating Charlotte, if she's beating Becky, I'm going to say, okay, I can sort of go along with this a little bit more. That's all. So that's my rundown. Roman Reigns retaining the title. Liv Morgan retaining her title. Bayley, Dakota Kai going over Bianca, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka. Seth Rollins going over Riddle. Gunther retaining, going over Sheamus. And the Judgment Day beating Edge and Mysterio with finally a Dominic heel turn. I wonder if he'll start to dress like Eddie, with the cowboy boots and the jeans and all that. I wonder if he'll go like full on, Eddie Guerrero? Will he like kind of try to have the swagger of Eddie Guerrero? We'll see. Just a few more ending points. Since Triple H has taken over, one of the things that if you've noticed, there has not been, I don't think, any reference to that 24/7 title. And noticing who we really haven't seen that much of anymore. You haven't seen that much of R-Truth anymore. You haven't really seen that much of MVP and Omos anymore. Right now they have The Miz going against Bobby Lashley right now. But to me, The Miz has sort of been, clamped down a little bit. To me anyway. So you're definitely seeing the changes of more wrestling and maybe, a little bit of a pullback on the entertainment side of things. I mean, they tried to do a little bit of entertainment tonight with the Kurt Angle. And by the way, I love Kurt Angle. I've always enjoyed Kurt Angle. I've enjoyed when he was the comedic when he first debuted, when he was doing everything with Stephanie and The Rock and Stone Cold and Undertaker and Kane. Back in, the 2000s, I like when he switched it. It became, intense Kurt, it became the wrestling machine Kurt. I like Kurt Angle. But, damn, does Kurt Angle look old. And, a lot of that is, the drugs and alcohol that he went through, because that's what that shit does to you. It just ages you. And I know Kurt, I think, is in his 50s now, I think. I can check that right now. I have my phone. I believe Kurt's in his 50s. Let's see. Kurt Angle. Yeah, Kurt's 53 years old. Okay? And, even like The Undertaker, to me, The Undertaker, looks good. When he would come out in a hat and coat, he looked like Undertaker. But then, when he took it off, you saw the balding and, he looked a little bit older. But overall, Taker looks, really, to me, Taker looks good. To me, Triple H looks good. But you just see that wear and tear of what those drugs, alcohols do to you. Now, for the rest of them, he was in great shape. And, I thought this segment sort of sucked, to be honest with you. And I kind of thought they really teased you because the way he came out led you to believe he was going to be doing something physical. And, he was talking about how he would like to have one more match and how, towards the end, he wasn't really happy because he wrestled when he first came back. But then, they sort of put him on hold and he got stiff and he really couldn't move the way he wanted to because it was clear to see the man was stiff as fuck. But, looking at him tonight, like, he looked like if you made him do a 10-minute match, that he could get through it relatively good. Like, he looked good. He looked slim. He looked like he would be able to move. And, he didn't look stiff, And I thought when Gable came out, I'm like, okay, maybe they're going to do a little something with him. So, I just thought it was just cheesy. They gave him every excuse to hit his signature catchphrases and, and the milk at the end. But I don't know. I just kind of thought of it more. I know he was in his hometown, but it sort of just felt like a waste almost. And I don't think it's a bad idea for him to connect with Alpha Academy, to be doing something with them. It does fit. But like I said, it's just amazing how old Kurt looks, but yet he looks good, if that makes sense. Like, he looks like he can go, but you look at his face, is like, you look like somebody who's knocking on 60 as opposed to somebody who's in his early 50s. But again, that's just your drugs. And again, as me getting older, the guys you grew up with obviously are going to get older as well. So I just thought it could have been done better. Again, going on now to, the surprise that Triple H has been doing. The latest returns of Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis. And, who else could be, brought back? I had did on the last video that, my top people of you bringing back would be definitely Bray Wyatt would be number one. Karrion Kross was on that list, but he already brought Karrion Kross back. So Bray Wyatt definitely is the next one you got to bring back. Number 2 is EC3. I forgot who my third pick was. I don't know if my third pick was Braun Strowman or not. I don't remember who my third was. I have to listen to my own video. I don't recall who I picked. But, it would be nice if they bring back Bray Wyatt. If they can bring back EC3, because I don't think he ever really got, a great shake at things. I'm sorry, I'm slightly distracted because I'm watching this right now because they have The Miz, and currently he sees Dexter Loomis. So they're going to be doing something with Dexter pretty soon. But, the funny thing is that Vince, part of the reason why he got released is because, Vince saw him, which is ironic, saw him as too old because, they were making a thing that they wanted to get younger, and they felt that this guy was too old. But the fact that Johnny Gargano is back, there's a lot of exciting matches you can do. Last week, obviously, he had interaction with Theory when they had a little thing down in NXT. So, Johnny Gargano and Theory. You got Johnny Gargano and AJ Styles. You got Jerry Gargano. Even The Miz would sort of be interesting. Seth Rollins, Riddle. The matches this guy can have. Teaming back up with Tommaso Ciampa to take on the Usos. That's a fresh team. Teaming up to take on the Street Profits. You have a lot of exciting and new popping. That's the big thing. New, popping up. And, again, Triple H just continues to show that this is his time, his roster, his creative, his era. Because he's bringing back all these guys. Now, there was talk I saw about his name being thrown around, which was Braun Strowman. Now, Braun was let go because his contract was too high. Would he agree to come back for a lesser amount? I have no idea. I really wasn't a crazy Braun Strowman fan anyway. But if they bring him back, great. But I would definitely like to see Bray Wyatt come back. I would definitely like to see EC3 come back because, again, he just did not get a fair shake. I think it's cool that you have Dexter Loomis back. Oh, here they go, sure, Kurt Angle and Edge again. I think it's cool they brought Dexter Loomis back. But, as I'm going to talk about in my AEW video, I think they need to cool it off with all the all the surprises coming back because, again, you have to let it breathe. And I get, Dexter Loomis and even, Johnny Gargano is not to the level of excitement as a Karrion Kross, I guess, because everybody wanted Karrion Kross, to come back because they felt like Vince, screwed him. But after you brought back Karrion Kross, I really thought you should have waited before you brought back, somebody else. Now you have, Io Sky, you have Dakota Kai. I think you have to, let these debuts breathe and let's really be excited about it because I feel like now with every new debut you bring, you're taking that attention away. It becomes less meaningful. That's what I'm trying to get at. It becomes less meaningful because, all right, great, Karrion Kross is here. Okay, we've seen him a couple of times. Oh, look, they brought back Dexter Loomis. Oh, look, they brought back Johnny Gargano. It's like, okay, now you're sort of forgetting that you brought about Karrion Kross, and you're sort of losing that momentum, that excitement that he had brought back, and that's what I think the mistake is. So yeah, if you have Bray Wyatt in your back pocket, I would really wait. I would probably wait till the end of the year, if not maybe on day one or something like that, so you can have something at WrestleMania. Maybe he can come back at the Royal Rumble, but I would really if you're gonna have somebody big like Bray Wyatt come back, I would wait. If you're going to have EC3 come back, okay, he can come back a little bit sooner, but don't have anybody else debut anytime soon. You know what I mean? Just let it breathe and just give us time to enjoy that return. So, that's all I really have. Sorry if I sound like I was rambling because I was looking also what's going on at Raw as well, just to see what they were doing, but that's just where I stand right now with everything. So this is my early prediction for the event on Saturday. Just a couple of notes of just what it just looks like and what the landscape looks like, and it's exciting. Because we're gonna get new, and that's the big thing. We're going to get new matches. Storyline wise, it's kind of hard because everything's been done. but, and I think you can tell also that the wrestlers themselves are getting a little bit more input in their promos, a little bit more input in their matches. You know, I don't think it's as I shouldn't say I think it's not. It's not as micromanaged as it was under McMahon. Now, yes, you still have a few McMahon guys there, and I don't think that's a bad thing. And like I said, there's always these rumblings about how Bruce Pritchard fits into all this because clearly he is a Vince guy. And I don't think, because again, you don't want to be surrounded by yes men all the time. That is, to me, the kiss of death in any business is to have a bunch of yes men around you. And I think that's why you see a lot of these musicians and actors who are childhood stars, and then as they start to get a little older, they have a breakdown, a la Justin Bieber, a la Britney Spears, because nobody tells them no. And then, eventually they're getting everything they want, and with that, the pressure mounts up. And you start to buckle under the pressure. You start to become a little resentful. You become short-tempered. And next thing you know, you're having a breakdown. And if you have the right people around you as you're coming up to say, okay, Justin, okay, Brittany, that's a good idea. Well, you know what? No, don't do this. Same thing with these sports athletes. These guys are getting these big contracts at a young age. I mean, look at the Soto kid who just went to the Padres. $400-something million contract. I know he just got released, but the punter guy who just got released on the Bills, he was, looking at some substantial money down the road. He was only 21. Zach Wilson, the Jets, he's 21, 22 years old or 23. Look how much money these guys and girls are getting a lot of money at a young age, and everybody is just going to want to tell you what you want to hear. And that just leads to your downfall. And I think that's why one of the reasons why you had so many shitty storylines is because nobody wanted to speak out against Vince. And, if you listen to the podcast, you've heard JR say, if you push too hard for something, it turns Vince off. So everybody will just say, okay, boss, yeah, that's what we do. So I think Triple H needs to keep some of the Vince guys around because they're probably saying, well, we can't shy away too much from the entertainment. We still have to have some of that sprinkled in. But the fact that you're getting new is great. And, we talked about, well, what's who is left to challenge, the Usos. And I think there's enough time getting into WrestleMania where you can have Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa team up and do that. You can have them go against the New Day. You have them go against the Street Profits. That's new. That's exciting. Again, Karrion Kross, all the people he could go through. I mean, he could go through Cody. He could go through Seth if he turns, babyface or whatever, or whoever's the heel at the time. Karrion Kross and Riddle. There is just a plethora of this new matches and new storylines coming down the horizon. And I just think as we're doing this, and you want to bring back some of your guys who were released that probably shouldn't have been released, I get that. But again, let's just again, let it breathe. Let's not overshadow every debut, because to me, that's what AEW did. And I'm going to list out everybody who debuted and how fast they were debuting. But that's it for me. Hopefully you enjoyed this. It looks like you guys really enjoyed the Sasha Banks Naomi, question mark returning video, because it had over, 40-something views. I think that's my highest looked at video since I've started this. So thank you for that. Again, my only complaint about that is that nobody left any comments. And I want you guys to leave your comments. Tell me what you agree with, what you disagree with. Call me out if I made a mistake with something. Somebody called me out before because I gave the wrong age of Jeff Hardy. So just, subscribe, comment, and watch. Again, I'm going to drop that AEW video, and then after that will just be the reaction to the pay-per-view Clash at the Castle. So enjoy the event on Saturday. Have a good Labor Day weekend that's coming up. I can't freaking wait because I am not doing anything. Just with work and all that crap, I am just going to put my feet up, watch some movies that have been sitting on my DVR forever. I mean, I have movies on there that I recorded last year that I haven't watched. You know, I bought the PlayStation 5 finally, and just before the holiday, and I haven't even turned that on yet. So this weekend, it is just going to be a me fucking weekend because work has just been taking the shit out of me, and plus school just started. So anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Talk to you guys later.